On episode 141 of Veteran on the Move, Army veteran Tim Smith, founder of Patriot Cleaning, is on a mission to hire as many veterans as he can so they can be a part of a team again.
Welcome to Veteran on the Move. If you're a veteran in transition, an entrepreneur wannabe, or someone still stuck in that JOB trying to escape, this podcast is dedicated to your success. And now, your host, Joe Crane.
The top 7 paths to freedom is my free gift to you for listening to the show, featuring 7 great ways for a veteran to take their first step into the exciting world of entrepreneurship. To receive your free gift, go to veteranonthemove.com, or if you're listening on a mobile device, you can text the word veteran to 38470. Tim Smith is an Operation Iraqi Freedom Veteran and served in the Army from 2003 to 2007. He was a food service specialist, but during his combat tour in Iraq in 2004, he did a lot of security for convoys, guard duty, log packs, and detainee guard. On April 29, 2004, 8 of his buddies were killed in a vehicle-borne IED. In 2011, he started cleaning 2 buildings by himself. He now employs over 40 veterans and 9 family members of veterans to clean commercial office space and schools. He was able to serve with some real heroes that gave everything for our country, and he feels like it is his duty now to hire as many veterans as he can to be a part of a team again. All right, Tim Smith from Patriot Commercial Cleaning. Welcome to Veteran on the Move. And before we get to talking about business and entrepreneurship, I always like to take guys back a little ways and maybe we can hear about what you did when you were in the Army.
Sure. Thanks a lot for having me, Joe. I really appreciate it. So I was in the Army from 2003 to 2007. My MOS was 92G, which was food service specialist. After basic and AIT training, my first duty station was pretty much Iraq. I was in 427 Field Artillery. I was stationed in Baumholder, Germany for about 1 month, then caught right up with my unit. So at first, when we were over in Iraq, they had pretty much all the KBR contracts. So what we did was a lot of security for convoys, a lot of guard duty, log packs, and detainee guard. So basically we get up around 04:30, 05 every morning, convoy for about 35 to 40 minutes, pick up the child, bring the child back. We just kind of have to switch different, we had to take different routes all the time because at that time in 2004, we were right there in Baghdad at Thunder FOB at first, and everything, we had a bunch of soft shell Humvees and 5 tons at the time. There's a lot of IEDs, as we all know, all over the place. So we kind of switch up locations, and we went on about 2 convoys in the morning, then later on at night. And that's pretty much what we did for the time I was there until we got extended around April of 2004. We went to FOB St. Michael's, which is right outside of Fallujah in Mummidyah, Iraq, where then we did a lot of basically guard duty right there then, Joe.
Okay. Yeah, so you were pretty close to Al Taqaddum Airfield then.
Not too far away, yes.
Yeah, I was stationed at TQ in 2004 from like the very end of March through September. So we were right there next to each other.
Small world, isn't it?
Yeah. I've run into a few other folks that were stationed right near there. Actually, John Dumas, a fellow veteran podcaster, he was a tanker, and I think he might have been at at that FOB you were at, because I know it was real close to TQ, but there were a couple other ones there too.
It could have been. We were 427 Field Artillery was our unit, but we also had at that time 26 Infantry and 135 Armored. Everybody, I think there was about 750 of us there at that time. Just trying to support the surge in Fallujah. We took over the Marines Forward Operating Base, and that's the time they were pushing into Fallujah at that time.
That's right. Yep. That was Fallujah 1.
Yes.
Yep. I was there. I was flying Cobra attack helicopters for Fallujah 1 at a TQ, so we were there at the same time. So, so take us through a little bit about the deployment and how that ended, and then what happened when you got back and on beyond your transition.
Sure. The deployment, made so many good friends and buddies that, that I could conversate now forever with. You don't forget certain days and certain times like that. April 29th, 2004 was kind of a rough day where 8 of my buddies were killed by a VBIED. And you just don't forget days like that. I remember getting off guard duty, and my buddy Doc Darling was one of those that paid the ultimate sacrifice. We were together the day before. I remember Doc was getting one of the cell phones that calls 2 little girls. And then the next day you find out, and we're all so young at that time. It's just tough to see, great guys, great leaders give everything, and then you're wondering like what just happened.
Right. Yeah, it's it may have been young then, but it really does force you to grow up quick, doesn't it?
It really does, and that's one of the life lessons I learned. I think we all do, how valuable life is, and I just try to go every day now where had the opportunity to serve with guys and gals that paid everything. So I feel like it's my duty now basically to try to live the best life I can and try to help the veteran community any way that I can. Absolutely.
Well, take us through. Thanks for sharing that with us, because I know that's a tough story to tell. But if you can take us through your return home and ultimately your transition out of the military, and how did you end up arriving at entrepreneurship?
Sure. So the first 6 months were probably the toughest for me. I was diagnosed with PTSD, severe chronic conjunctivitis, and just tinnitus from all the artillery going off. And I tell you what, Joe, when I didn't have any type of purpose was the toughest time for me. I was fortunate enough to do the Mission Continues Fellowship. So I was the first fellow in St. Louis, Missouri in 2008. And through that fellowship, I got to be very good friends with Eric Reitens, who's a Navy SEAL and founded the Mission Continues. And so I was able to see how Eric grew the Mission Continues, and I just took a lot of notes, and Eric was the first person to really believe in me. And through that confidence, it just opened up new opportunities.
Wow. So the Mission Continues, Eric Reitens, he's as we're recording this is the day before our national election, and Eric Reitens is actually running for governor of the state of Missouri. So by the time this episode releases, we'll know how it went. But living in Kansas City, I'm seeing all the political ads and commercials, and if there's one thing I can say about the election, I'll be glad when it's over. So I don't have to watch and listen to these political commercials anymore. But so Eric Greitens' Mission Continues. He what I understand about his organization, his nonprofit, he grabs veterans and lets them go to work for a nonprofit within their community. Is that correct?
It is correct. I was lucky enough to do the fellowship in 2008. And at that time, I actually did it at the VA as a peer support counselor. Okay. Basically a veteran helping another veteran. And that gave me just the resources to try to help out my fellow veterans at the VA to try to make the transition a little bit smoother, and also gave me a lot of resources just to pass on to people that honestly I had no idea about, because the VA is such a big system.
Yeah. So how was it? Were you actually helping another veteran one-on-one as a mentor?
It was one-on-one, but also I did groups too, to try to pass out information to other veterans, basically link them up with the resources, maybe with the VFW, DAV, to help them with their claims, how to deal with certain issues that might have came across through the military, just talking more of them as a peer than a clinician. to try to get them in contact and connection with the people that could help him or her out also.
Yeah, and so as you moved through that job with your what do they call it with the mission continues,
The fellowship?
The fellowship, yeah. As you moved through your fellowship time, what did you end up doing as that came to an end?
Sure. So actually, through part of the fellowship, part of it I finished undergrad at UMSL, and right after the fellowship, I was fortunate enough to use my voc rehab benefits to go to Brown School's social work at WashU. And through the fellowship, I actually started up a group, Stand United for Veterans. And that actually showed me how to write the business plan down the line for Patriot commercial cleaning, just going through that step of the process of the fellowship, starting up a student veterans group.
Okay, that's great. So your first stab at a business plan was with the nonprofit, and then eventually, when you got to the cleaning business, you already knew how to write a business plan.
It really helped out. It gave me the steps of how to do it. It was a lot of work answering about 15 to 20 pages of questions. But through doing that fellowship and starting up that student veterans group, I believe it helped give me the skills and belief in myself how to write the business plan that eventually I came up with.
Okay. So how did you actually come up with the idea for Patriot commercial cleaning? How did you get started in the whole thing from the beginning?
Gotcha. So I was sitting in class one night. It was about a 7 p.m. I worked during the days, and so I go to class at night.
Mm-hmm.
And I seen the janitorial crew, and I just said, this is something that I think I could do as a business where I could help employ other veterans, because a lot of the veterans were going to school during the day utilizing their GI Bills. And so I said, well, maybe I could start up a business where veterans could work during the day. Our veterans could go to school during the day and work at night. So I just started jotting down notes in class, and I was excited to get out of the class. My brain kind of went to a totally different place, because I'm like, this could be a business that could possibly employ a lot of veterans and family members of veterans.
Yeah, and did you actually start working in one of these cleaning jobs yourself in the very beginning?
No, so I actually talked to a Vietnam veteran, Larry Abrams, that owned an insurance company. I said, hey, Larry, I'm really trying to start up a business. And he gave me an opportunity to clean his insurance office. So our first job was cleaning about a 3,000 square foot a month office about once every week, 2011. And then we just kind of grew from there, where at first I was doing the cleaning. Then we got about 3 or 4 contracts, and then I had to hire about 2 or 3 veterans. Mm-hmm. And then we just kind of went from there. So it was really kind of on the job training, and my military background kind of helped me out with the logistics of doing the ordering of supplies, kind of the administration side of bookkeeping, things like that.
Uh-huh. So, forgive me here when I mention this, but like what comes to mind when I hear of people cleaning office buildings and stuff at night. I've seen, been in plenty of buildings over the years and seen some of those folks. Some of them, sometimes I'm like looking at it and I'm like, where did they find these people? Because they like go to the lowest echelons of society to pull these people out of the woodwork. And it just kind of makes me wonder. I'm like, well, do normal good folks not want to do this kind of work? Or, and don't get me wrong, because like Chris Dombach from New York, a veteran, he started a lawn mowing business,
Sure.
The fact is, grass has to be cut and offices have to be cleaned. So too many of us get caught up in this. We need to come up with the grandiose, the next iPhone invention or whatever. But the fact is, there's basic, food service, mowing lawns, and cleaning stuff is always going to be in demand. It's always going to be there. But too many of us look, especially veterans, they might like, well, I'm a veteran. I came back from Iraq, Afghanistan. I don't want to being a cleaning service. They're trying to think they're beyond that or whatever. So do you run into that, or how do you dispel those objections to this kind of work?
Sure. So a lot of times what I'll do is work with the different Missouri career centers.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll work with different vet reps that are helping veterans try to find employment. A lot of the guys and gals that we hire are going to school during the day. And so it's good, work for them at night where they can work maybe 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. and still get their degrees. Some have been able to grow with us. So we're doing close to about 48 different contracts right now, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Where we've hired over 40 veterans and about 9 family members of veterans. So, it's a starting position where at least you're part of a team again, and then you can get the resources too to obtain whatever your goals are. This is just a start where, if you miss that camaraderie, it's just an opportunity where you can be a part of a team again with people that might have similar experiences that you've once had.
Yeah, so you get to be a part of a team, but the nice thing that comes to mind is if you're going to college by day, you are limited in what jobs you can really work. So a lot of veterans end up in the food service business, which they're either cooking, cleaning, or serving in the restaurants and everything. And in those kind of jobs, you're dealing with people and chaos and controversy and everything else. I imagine this pretty quiet work. Everyone's gone home for the day, and you're just cleaning the space, and so it might be quite kind of a decompressed, not real high stress job.
Sure. So, some of the veterans really appreciate that when they might be working in groups of 3 or 4 with the bigger commercial clients we have. Sometimes they might have a small building about 15,000 square feet where they're cleaning 5 or 6 hours by themselves. Basically, they're their own boss. Now, we have quality management that comes, checks on them, and makes sure they get everything they need. But you're pretty much in charge and can follow the scope of work to get the job done where you don't have somebody over you, every hour, 2 hours. We know that these veterans are very responsible, where if you give them your mission, they'll find a way to get it done, where we don't micromanage. We say, here's the scope of work. Find a way to get it done, and let me know or let our team know if you need anything, and we're here to support you 100%.
Yeah, that's great. And how has the fact that it's mostly veterans or family members of veterans, how's it been received in the community and with your clients?
I think for the most part, we've received a lot of positive things. I think a lot of people want to support the veteran community. They want to find a way to give back, where I think with our company, what differentiates us is we're actually putting our money where our mouth is, hiring on these guys and gals that served before, hiring on family members of veterans when we're deployed. They're basically holding down the fort for us. And we have a track record now of about 6 years. So over time, the reputation grows, and I think that helps us out.
Yeah, and so, and for yourself, you started cleaning a fellow veteran's insurance office, and now, how many people are you employing?
We have on our staff right now about 42 veterans and about 9 family members. So close to about 50 team members now at certain times when we're doing a lot of stripping and waxing. Maybe sometimes about 38 when we're not doing the extra project work. But it's a good group of team members to work very close with. And like I was saying earlier, it's just nice to be part of a team again.
Yeah. And do you find that the team concept with the veterans and family members has been working really well?
I think it helps out because we all have a similar background, where here's the scope of work, here's what needs to be done. I think as veterans, we can adapt to a lot of different environments, where sometimes we might have to be cleaning schools. The next time it might be office space. Sometimes we got to change the schedules to improvise so the customer can get their job done. So we can adapt to a lot of different environments. I think that's what helps us be successful, is because we've been addressed in we had to change to so many different type of environments. I think that training sticks with us.
Yeah, and so you've been doing this for 6 years, so you've expanded quite a bit. Do you find yourself doing a lot of the cleaning yourself, or are you pretty much managing the main operations of the business?
I pretty much just manage the main operations now.
Uh-huh.
I'll clean about one or two places once a week. I have two little boys, Timmy's 11 and Tyler's 8. So I'll try new products, but I also want to teach them about, just being a part of a team, and then also responsibility. And so by teaching them the new products, I teach myself too. And I'd like to see, it helps me out. Okay, how long will it take me? 4,000 square feet. How long does that take? So I'm aware of not just talking about it. I'll actually get there with my team to help out once in a while too, to kind of set the example. And I started off cleaning, so I'm definitely not too good to get my hands dirty still, Joe.
That's great. So, are you paying folks, most of your team members, are they getting paid an hourly rate, or do you equate that to the job? How's that working for you?
So most of them get paid an hourly rate.
Uh-huh.
I tend to pay quite a bit better than a lot of the other cleaning companies, but that helps me keep good people too, so I don't have as much employee turnover. At the end of the day, that saves our company a good amount of money, just because we don't have to hire as many people.
Mm-hmm.
Where, one thing we learned in the military, if you treat your people good, it makes your job a lot easier, because they'll have your back then at the end also.
Right. Now, do you have other, non-veterans, people from, coming out from left field, whatever, that want to come work for you? Do you actually turn people away if they're not a veteran or from a veteran family member, that kind of thing? I mean, do you find yourself having to deal with that?
So far, Joe, we really have not. Like I said, I work with a lot of the career centers, where we get a pretty big pool of potential veteran employees, are just family members of veterans. So, I mean, our main mission is to hire as many veterans as we can, or family members of veterans. So I always try to make sure to reach out to the veteran community first, because I know for me, that hardest 6 months is when I wasn't working and I had too much time on my hand.
Mm-hmm.
So that always kind of pops up to my mind too, of why it's important for me to try to help other veterans out, because somebody gave me that opportunity back when I wasn't doing much.
Right. So if you're talking to that veteran that's looking to get out, or is in a transition at the moment, what could you say to them about getting into the exciting world of entrepreneurship?
It's a great time. I mean, it's a lot of work, but I think if you're passionate about doing it, find something you're passionate about doing it, and take the small steps. It's not going to happen right overnight. I mean, I look at our first year of sales compared to what we're doing now. It took a long time to build up a customer base. But, I would say talk to other entrepreneurs too, because I'm a part of Entrepreneurs Organization, the Accelerator Program. And from bouncing off different ideas, it kind of keeps me motivated to keep moving forward. And I learned a lot from a lot of other entrepreneurs.
And which the accelerator program that you're talking of, is that a SBA program or something else?
It's something else. So it's called the Entrepreneurs Organization. And the Accelerators Company program is for companies doing anywhere from 250,000 to $1 million a year. The goal is to get us up to $1 million a year. We're not there yet. We'll do about 650,000 growths this year.
Uh-huh.
So by having that accelerator program, it's other entrepreneurs kind of in the same stage where we are, just to have that support to bounce off ideas and kind of check in once a month to say, okay, are we on our goals? Because when you're an entrepreneur, a lot of times you're kind of by yourself with your own thoughts, where this is nice because you have some type of accountability checking in with other entrepreneurs also.
Mm-hmm. And so the Entrepreneurs Organization, I haven't actually heard of that one, so I was kind of curious. What is it, entrepreneursorganization.com or what?
If you Google probably Entrepreneurs Organization, EO, it should come up. And it's a really good group. I've been a part of it for about 2 years now. And since I've been a part of the group, our sales has continued to rise. And like I said, it's nice just to kind of work with people going through the same type of things you are, and then how to elevate your game basically to the next level.
And is that a nonprofit, or do you know who's running it?
I believe it is a nonprofit. The Entrepreneurs Organization, I believe, are the people that run it, and I believe it's a nonprofit for other entrepreneurs. Don't quote me because I'm not 100% sure. But I know in the accelerator program, we have like 4 learning days. We meet once a month, and it's really helped a lot of the people in the groups we've been with, just kind of elevate to the next level.
And that's free for you to be involved in it?
It's not free. It costs me, I think, for the EO accelerator around $1,500 a year.
Okay.
But for us, I think it's been a good investment because it really helps us keep track of our goals and just connections, and just like I said, being a part of people at the same stage where you are, and everybody's trying to get to that next level.
Oh yeah, I mean that's invaluable, and honestly, I've heard there's a lot of great programs out there to help veterans start businesses, and a lot of them are free. Sometimes the problem with being free is sometimes veterans don't take it serious because they don't have any skin in the game. So there's nothing wrong with paying for good information and be a member of whether it be a mastermind or a good community. So I do want to go back. I mean, have you always viewed yourself as an entrepreneur, or is this kind of something that came on after you got out of the Army?
I think it's something that just came on out of the Army. I remember that first 6 months. I know I go back to it, but that was a tough 6 months where I had to try to find a way to support my family. At the time, it was me and my wife, and have a very supportive wife, Terry. We've been married for 11 years. And like Timmy's 11 now and Tyler's 8. So I had to find a way to support them through the fellowship, and then through education. I realized, this could be something, I could have an opportunity at. I've always liked sports. I played high school basketball and college basketball. So I kind of miss that competition where I'm like, well, this is something where I could really challenge myself, try to make myself better. And I think that's why I got into entrepreneurship after the Army. I really missed a challenge. And so after the military, I needed to find a challenge. And I thought entrepreneurship would be a pretty good challenge and a way to support my family.
Absolutely. That's great. So now that you've become an entrepreneur, would you consider yourself unemployable?
I think it'd be very hard to go back to
You know what I mean by that, right?
I do. Yes, it would be very hard, I think. Because I've been out of the workforce working for somebody now for about 3 years. And so my schedule is, I pretty much set it. Whatever I want to do, what's going to help the company grow. And it would be hard to take orders for something that's not helping out the bottom line. I don't believe in busy work. I believe, okay, as long as this could help out, it's worth doing. But I'm not just going to do work to stay busy. I don't believe in that.
Yeah. Now, would you rather work 80 hours a week for yourself to avoid working 40 hours a week for someone else?
I would. Definitely. I
heard that a while back, man. I love that.
It makes a lot of sense, Joe. It's like, I don't mind working 80 hours for myself because at the end of the day, I love working. I love working with other veterans, and I love what I do. And every day is not a great day. We've seen a lot of things where, you know, somebody messes up, and at the end of the day, it's my mess up where I have to address the issue. So it's not easy every day, but if you really enjoy and love what you do, you don't mind taking those calls to get things going in the right direction and kind of pushing forward.
Absolutely. All right, Tim, how do we find your company on the website if somebody wants to look you up?
So our website is www.patriotcleaning.net. Our phone number is 314-456-2516. And we're based pretty much in St. Louis, Missouri, and Illinois.
Okay, that's great. And I would like to give you the last word. You know, if you're talking to that veteran out there that's getting out, I mean, what would you say to them about, you know, how to get started, or if they've got a little apprehension about jumping in, what final words would you have for them?
My final word to maybe the veteran getting out was maybe try to find a mentor that you have an interest in trying to do something. If you see somebody that's doing something and you have an interest in it, maybe reaching out to him or her, because you could probably get a lot of knowledge from that person, and they'll probably, if you ask them, give you maybe an hour a month. At least you could bounce some different ideas off him or her, and see if that's going to be the right field for you. A lot of people seem like they want to help other veterans that are transitioning out. So that might be a good opportunity just to really get to know, to see if you have an interest in whatever field you're looking at, in.
All right, Tim, great advice. Appreciate it. And I appreciate you sharing your veteran entrepreneurial story. So I wish you success, and hopefully you'll make that $1 million a year mark. Do you have that set as a time goal, like when you're hoping to achieve that?
It is. So our goal is hopefully by 2018. It would be nice to hit it in 2017. We're going to be pushing hard. You know, right now we have the goal set about 775,000 for 2017, 2018. But Joe, we're going to be pushing hard, and who knows, maybe we can hit it next year and hopefully get about 10 to 12 more veterans hired on.
All right. Well, sounds good, Tim. Hope you make that goal. Hope you make it early, and we'll stay in touch. And when you hit that $1 million mark, man, why don't you send me an email? I'll let everybody else know.
Sounds great, Joe. I really appreciate your time and you doing the podcast to get the word out for other veteran entrepreneurs.
Absolutely. You know, it's why we're here, to provide guidance and inspiration to any veterans or soon-to-be veterans that really don't want to go work for the man and go get that job. Give them some hope that, hey, it can be done by talking to veterans like you that have actually done it.
Sounds good. Well, thanks again for your time, Joe.
All right, Tim, you too. I appreciate you sharing your story.
All right, thanks.
All right, we're out. As you can tell from listening to the Veteran on the Move podcast, interviews are a great way to tell your story and spread the word about your business. If you would like to get booked as a podcast guest, I recommend Interview Valet. You can check out Interview Valet at veteranonthemove.com/valet. Be sure to check out Thrive15.com, the world's premier online education platform that helps entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs, and intrapreneurs learn how to start or grow a successful business. Start your free 30-day membership by going to Thrive15.com and use the promo code VETERAN. Thank you for listening to Veteran on the Move, your pathfinder to freedom. If you like the show, leave us a review on iTunes. Reviews are always greatly appreciated. So until next time, this veteran is Oscar Mike.